Hi, I am Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Dude Trust Me, and Katerina. How are you guys today? Oh, what just happened? Okay, nothing. Okay, hopefully this will work. I don't know. My computer went black. Scary. All right. Okay, so today we're going to talk about gray rock a little bit, about internal work you can do when you're gray rocking so that you are not quite as affected by the narcissists wanting to you, projecting, gaslighting, whatever. And then also about when you're out of a relationship with a toxic person, how to go through life and not take everything so personally. So, because you can see how it sets it up when being in a narcissistic relationship with a narcissist, that you could become hypervigilant in protecting yourself from what you believe is ill intent of other people, right? So how to go and create healthy boundaries and such so that you are not taking everything so personally that happens in life, right? Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about the narcissist and dealing with them, and then we'll talk about us. Okay, so if you want to know your power and overcome toxic abuse, hit subscribe and join me on this journey of healing. Okay, and also if you have any need for information, any need for peer support, any need for coaching support, head over to queenbeing.com. All the information's over there. Lots and lots and lots of information. So head over there to check it out. And yeah, okay. So hello, Trinity Fires, Venusia, Shoshi. Good morning. Okay. So gray rock, we know what it is, right? It's having no reaction to the narcissist when they are displaying the childlike behaviors of projecting, gaslighting, blame shifting, ranting, raging, silent treatment, you name it. When they're doing the stuff that is abuse, it's deflecting the abuse by not acknowledging or reacting to it or responding to it in any way, shape, or form. It's gray rocking is keeping it boring. You're not feeding the supply back into the narcissist, the desires for supply that they have, right? This is a perfect reboot from Draining Weekend. Uh-oh. Hi, Katrina. Hi, Iraq. Hey, hey. Trinity Fire says, I've gray rocked for years. 2 months ago, I went no contact. My therapist last week wanted to role play, but I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to have a conversation with someone I gray rocked forever. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be an interesting way to get your voice heard in a safe space over time. So I can appreciate the effort that must have gone into that and hope that you will stick with it, because they probably have a plan for why that will help you. Get yourself heard, right? Get the anger out. Let yourself feel what you need to feel. Sometimes I want to defend myself. Well, whether we want to defend ourselves or not, it's not useful. It's not useful. That's the problem. And it's giving them supply. It's not useful in that it very rarely has any effect when you defend yourself. All it does is escalate the situation and create more gaslighting, more projecting. It gives them information on you. So when you're defending yourself to a narcissist and you're saying, but this is how I feel, this is what I think, don't tell me what I think. Don't tell me what I feel, because they'll say, like say you're having a discussion and they start projecting and they start blame shifting and they start telling you you are one way or another. You're completely disrespectful. And you don't tell me I'm disrespectful. I am one of the more respectful people. In fact, I've sat here listening to you for X amount of minutes, and I have been very respectful in listening to your side of things, and now I need you to hear mine, right? That would be a defense. All that does is shows them your game plan. It shows them your strategy. So then they can slip in and oh, you're hurting my feelings. And they switch it to something else. It never works. The defense to defend oneself to a narcissist is gray rock. You see what I'm saying? You're defending yourself by keeping your truth to yourself, because you tell it to them and they will use it and eat you up. That's what they do. All right. All right. Anything said will be used against you. Yeah. And if you tell them something in defense, like, well, and you're having this, you get that feeling of wanting this deep conversation with one of them, and you get this feeling that they're listening to you. What they're doing is storing that information to use later against you. Basically, if you say, I'm just feeling like you don't listen to me. Like, I appreciate right now you're listening to me, and I'm feeling like you never listened to me, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you go on, and that's your defense. You say, so I have to repeat myself over and over because you don't hear me. That's why I do that. Okay. So that's why I do it. And they say, oh, okay. And then maybe they drop that argument that time because for whatever reason, they don't feel like gaining more supply. Guaranteed they'll come back with, you never listen to me. You never listen to me. I'm always unheard. They flip the script. They make it theirs. So they'll take it. They'll use it. The only defense is walking away. And Gray Rock, honestly, that is self-defense. All right. What if you're already having a moment and there's nothing to do, and it's nothing to do with the narcissist, so you look sad, for example. They might see that and love it and play with it, but actually had nothing to, then when they catch you in the moment and they say, oh, what's the matter? Why are you looking so sad? Or whatever they say to you to engage you. Oh, look, my hair's still wet. That's cute. I was out in the rain. Okay. So anyway, just ignore the wet hair. All right. Yeah. So you disengage. You're in it. You want so badly for someone to hear you, right? You want someone to, you appreciate the fact that they notice something about you maybe, or you feel trapped. Whatever you feel something. You disengage. You say, oh yeah, was having a bad day. I'm fine now. And you don't give them thank you for yesterday it was worse. It actually had water dripping. So anyway, oh, thanks. So yeah, disengage as soon as you catch it. You catch yourself engaging, that's when you Gray Rock. It's not like we are robots and we can immediately turn on this Gray Rock system as soon as the potential for the threat of any abuse comes at you. It's usually right in the middle of it that you catch yourself engaging. You pull back. You have to take a deep breath. You realize that the healthier thing for me is to not engage in this, because if I do engage, it's going to escalate and I'm going to feel terrible. I'm not going to be heard. Nothing's going to come out of this except me feeding that narcissist with supply. And you pull back anyway. It's very hard. It's a skill, right? That's why if it was simple, we wouldn't have to talk about it over and over. Let me go back and see what you guys are saying. Prepare my apartment for inspection in 3 weeks. I asked for narcissist help. He refuses to offer ridiculous things. Conclusion, it's all up to me. Any advice? It is all up to you, right? You have to do it yourself. I mean, really, don't expect, they're going to sabotage you. So if you wait for them to help you, you're going to end up sabotaged. I would get friends involved, do what you can on your own, things like that, and not pretend you live alone. And just do it. Because, yeah, that's all sabotaging, right? So don't engage with the sabotaging. Just pretend they're not there. Gray Rock works really well, but sometimes, but dang it, sometimes I want to do, oh yeah, I know. Okay. Let's see. I have intellectual knowledge. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm not able to scan today. If I missed something, guys, please just repeat it. I'm having a slow brain to read moment here. I don't want the enmeshment. Okay, yeah, exactly. So this is what it's about. Gray Rocking helps you break that enmeshment. It helps you separate yourself from the manipulation because you're making a choice to disengage. This is about disengaging. It's not about punishing them. It's not about them. It's about you. Gray Rock is your protection mechanism too. It's not about dissociating necessarily either, even though that can happen in order to Gray Rock, right? But it's about stepping out of a situation that is toxic for you. Now, here's my point with it. And this worked for me tremendously and kept me from feeling like I was going crazy and needing to defend myself and needing to vent all over and whatever. It kept me feeling in power of my own part in it, if that makes sense, is internally to make the separation by naming the behavior. Well, not out loud. You don't want to go telling the narcissist, stop projecting all over me. I mean, that doesn't going to do any good except give them a word to throw at you. You name the behavior. Okay, that person is totally projecting because that's something that they do all the time. Now they're blame shifting. They're blame shifting in order to get away with it. You can start watching the mechanism in action when you do this and someone is classically narcissistic behaviors are coming out, right? You can see the progression of the way they relate to other people when they're trapped and their ego is at stake. When they're there, all you can see at that point isn't the fact that they're being mean to you and attacking you. It's the fact that they're defending their mask. And you can watch it in play. And when I did that, I was able to separate from the words that were being said and taking them personal and realizing that anyone in the situation that I was in was going to get this. This is how this person manifests in relationship. This is how they behave. This is how, when their mask is threatened, the mask that they think that they are, the mask that they want to project out to other people to pretend that's who they are, when that's threatened in any way. In other words, when you see who they are, when you see beyond the mask into the reality of either what they're doing or how they're behaving or who they are, and all this starts coming out, then there's a separation, and it isn't about me, it's about them. They have an issue, and it's a major issue, right? You have no idea. My mouth is not this clean, so all right. Holding my tongue. Anyway, they have a major issue, and their major issue is that they have no empathy and they have no accountability. And so it's them struggling with accountability. It has nothing to do with you. That's why defending yourself is irrelevant. There's nothing to defend. You've done nothing, right? Most of the time, like 90% of the time, you've done nothing. All you did was shine a mirror at them that showed them that their mask isn't real. That's it. There's nothing to defend, right? So as I'm inwardly watching and naming the behaviors, I'm seeing that this is not about me. This is about them. And I'm telling myself, it doesn't really matter what I say. I know my truth. So I'm going to say the thing that keeps it as minimally interactive as I can and watch what happens. And every narcissist is going to behave differently to the gray rocking. Some of them get really mad and they fight for supply. And others of them, my mind loved it. He loved it. And then I realized it was actually giving him supply for me to be submissive. So I had to change the gray rock into one of direct questioning and logic. So, yeah. Okay. I believe I missed your first message. My home is in jeopardy. I did miss it. If I fail this inspection, I will be homeless. Narc doesn't live here. Help with getting food. Okay. What do you need to get done, Belle? What do you need to get done, and how much of it can you do on your own? And do you have friends or anyone that can step in to help you? Gray rocking was my survival method in young adulthood and high school. I didn't know there was a term for it, but I felt bad that I couldn't say anything to my mom. And there is that, okay? So you see why understanding what's happening when you're gray rocking versus just doing it is important. It's the intention behind what we're doing and understanding our intention and understanding what's actually going on and at play that helps you not feel like you're not being heard quite so much. It helps you not have that horrible feeling that you can't say something to someone you love and care about. It also helps you when you do have the ability to step back and see this is not personal. This is their problem. 100%. They do not know how to communicate. They refuse to communicate. This is them being a 3-year-old child putting their foot down saying, I will not engage. I will get it my way. This is it. My ego is all that matters, right? And when you see that, it's it's actually puts the power back in your hands for your own life, your own interactions with people. It's a boundary. So gray rock is a boundary when you do it in a way that isn't, so if you don't have that inner intent going on, and you don't have the observation of what's actually happening going on, what can happen is you feel like you're forced into a position of not being able to speak, and you feel like you're being silenced. Can you see the difference? It's in the intent and in the inner work that you're doing on yourself, with yourself, through this experience. I mean, ideally you get out and you get away from it so you don't have to spend your life gray rocking, because it's miserable. It's miserable. You never feel heard. Another thing is talk to people who understand and tell them what happened. Tell them the situation, people that get it, so that you do have a place to be heard and vent, and someone to say, you know what, that was totally, they were, she was, whatever. And agreeing with you to the point where you feel validated. So it's speaking to other survivors as well, but on your own, keeping the knowledge that this other person is the one that is having a problem here. It is not personal, and naming the behaviors can actually help you. Also telling yourself, as I said, that this is my truth, and I will not share my truth with someone who's going to project, use it, steal it, and make it their own. No, I will only share my truth with people who hear me. You see, it's a boundary then, and it is no longer being silenced. It's intentionally silencing yourself to protect a truth. Does that make sense? Totally different way of thinking of gray rock maybe, but that's how I used it, and it completely changed the way I felt when I was gray rocking. It also led me to get out, all right, because it built my self-worth up. As I kept my own truth to myself, I wanted a place to share it. I didn't want to deal with that relationship anymore. It helped me detach from the narcissist. It helped break the trauma bonding because I wasn't engaging in the cycle. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. I have to get this entire apartment ready to pass inspection in just a few weeks. Much easier than it was supposed to be. Can't change the date. I know it's sad, but since suicide of best friend, no one. Okay. Make a list of what you need to do, Belle, and start working on it. This is your priority. The narcissist is not. Let them rant. Don't listen. This is your priority. Get your life and your home is your priority. Get a list going. Make sure you know what it is you need to do for this inspection, and start chipping away at it. This is, I mean, if we could all rush over there and help you, we'd have it done in a weekend, right? But we can't. So when we have to do it ourselves, make a priority list, make sure that priority list has all the important things on it, and just start crossing it off and do it. And don't let the narcissist interfere with it. Don't ask for help. Don't expect help, and don't accept help. Just move through. So I'm sorry, I'm busy. Oh my gosh, I have to get this done. Hyper focus. Act frantic about it. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that throws them off to keep them from bothering you. You know, I mean, you know them better than I, right? So, okay. I spent a good portion of the weekend defending and arguing because I hit a breaking point, and now I'm calming myself. Noting how this complicated it, but he doesn't care. I feel ya. Yeah, you know, and I have to say, like, at the end, as it came to the end, the gray rocking got less and less, because what happened was I understood exactly what was happening. I knew exactly what the behaviors were. I knew it wasn't going to change. And so I stood up in bold defense to it. It's different than gray rocking. It isn't gray rocking. However, it created such a rift that they couldn't see me as the weak and subservient person that they wanted me to be. And it changed the way the mask was worn. A different mask was put on, the more hard mask. I didn't want any affection. You know, I basically broke the mold of what he saw me as supply, and became the worst supply ever in a matter of weeks. And it's through defending and arguing, but not in a way that was emotional, cold and cunning and collected. All right. And it was intentional to break my own attachment, and anyone else, any person with empathy and accountability would have seen it differently. right? I wouldn't have had to go to that measure. Anyway, so gray rocking has its place, and it's not something we want to do to live by. It's a survival technique, right? This is something that we do for hopefully only short periods of time until we can find our way out of these relationships. In relationships like that you can't leave or have a longer end date, it can be a longer duration of the gray rock. And that is what I was talking about before could apply. All right. All right. Great topic. Why do they sabotage us and try to derail us from our objectives? Because they want all the attention. They don't want us to succeed and they don't want us to fail. They want to control the outcome. They want the drama. They want to be the one you run to. Potentially, her narcissist wants her to fail so that she's got nowhere to go but him. So she's got to stand up for herself and take care of what's needed right now for her life. And it's superhuman strength at this point, right? To get everything squared away in a short period of time. And that's why they do it, though. They want to control it. And if they knock you off your pedestal, if they derail you, then they've got control. And that's why they fight, because they want the control. It's all about the control. Okay, where are we? Once you know you're trauma bonded, how do you get out of the bond? Well, lots of ways. What I'm talking about is one way, by not engaging with the toxic person in the way that is emotional. A narcissistic person is not a safe place for you emotionally, period, ever. Okay, they're not safe for anyone emotionally. So don't give them your emotional life. Don't give them your feelings, your good things, your bad things. It's a transaction. I need this. They want supply. That's all it is. Okay. It's not a reciprocal, emotionally driven. Well, it is emotionally driven. It's not a connected, loving relationship. It's transactional, and they use emotions as the currency. So you step away from the currency. You don't give them the emotion. You have a ton of emotion. I know that in you in particular. So you find other outlets for that emotion. You understand your place is not to be engaging with them. So, what am I trying to say? Back to what I was saying before. You start to separate who you are from who they are. You start to separate the way they interact with other people and the way you interact with other people. And you see how vastly different that is. All right. And the more you separate from them, the more you focus your life on the path you'd rather take, the less they matter. The whole point is these people need to not matter. All they're looking for is mattering, control, and supply. So if you start pulling those things away, the trauma bonds, I don't know if they fade, but they start to become less important. All right. And when you're engaging in it, you're reinitiating the, oh, no, did I just, okay, I'm not going to move. Something is up. Like my connection is not stable. Okay. The more you initiate with it, the more you're engaging your whole body, emotions, and mind, spirit, the more you're looping back into the trauma bond. Right? So it's disengaging. That's how. Okay. Yeah. All right. What am I missing here? I keep taking breaks when my health issues act up, and I pray, meditate, do affirmations, anything I can. It's still really scary. I feel the narcissist wants me to, he does want you to fail, and don't let it hurt. Use that knowledge to fuel your energy. Instead of letting it take you down, let it give you the adrenaline you need to burst through and get this job done. All right. Get angry. Use the anger. It's okay. It's okay to feel angry at these people. We should, right? You don't want to live in that anger, but when you're in the middle of it and they are sabotaging your well-being and your life, it makes me angry for you. So yeah, but use it to have a burst of energy to get the next task done. Ooh, that's hard. Next task. Okay. But it's still this constant dealing with CPTSD responses, says E-Rock Freedom, and the challenge of healing while under the effects of narcissistic abuse. Yes, it is. This is challenging. And then what? That's what you tell yourself every time you hear yourself defeat your progress with the word but. Change it to and. And it's still constantly dealing with this other stuff. Yes. Okay. Right. We all, there is a belief in you somewhere that's tied back to the abuse with that statement that keeps you from being able to be free to move forward. Right. So find that and work with it. That's my suggestion. How do you, hi, Phil. Do you know anyone near you? Okay. We're talking to Belle. Stacy, hello. Can you say more about them taking information as their own versus information against you? Oh, yeah, sure. Like that you might say something like, I don't like it when you just walk away. I don't like it when you disappear and walk away. It upsets me because, I was abandoned as a child and it totally triggers me and it makes me feel really upset and I get really anxious and it's way more triggering than it would be if it were someone that didn't have these issues. So please don't do that to me anymore. And they may say, oh yeah, okay, I see that, like in a moment of pretend accountability when all it is acknowledgement. And then maybe months down the line, you are 5 minutes late and they throw at you, I have abandonment issues. And it's really rude of you and really, really, painful the way so you see, they took your thing, they make it their own and they throw it at you. And you're sitting there going, wait a minute, wait, you got lost in a grocery store. I had like serious abandonment. What? It's not the same. And you can't say anything because then they start gaslighting. All right. That's one example off the top of my head. I know what he's doing every time. It's my landlord being so annoying. Sometimes I can't seem to keep the gray rock going when he's insulting me. Can you walk away? Because that's the ultimate, right? Just completely walking away. Okay. My thing just jumped and I lost where we were here. Okay. I also promised myself, says Belle, I'm not giving one iota of energy to the narcissist for anything. I'm gray rocking like crazy. Good. Please just pray and send thoughts of strength for me. I know it's my accountability. You can do this. You can totally do this. Yes, it's going to be hard and you're going to get through it. So make that list. And when you're in your downtime, make a list of what you're going to do in the uptime, right? And check it off and do it. This is where your energy goes for this week, right? And we all will be thinking and praying for you in our ways that we do such things. All right. Hyper focus on it. Let's see. Okay, I'm seeing if there's any more questions here. They do want you to be constantly thinking about them. Of course they do. Hi, Mo Cowboy. Gotta turn loose the tangled embrace. Stop playing. Step out of the sandbox and walk into the living. That's right. Thank you, Mo Cowboy, for the poetry and prose. Okay. What's happening? Okay. If I missed something again, please retype it. I'm having scanning the very active and wonderful chat issues right now. Okay. Okay. We'll just read the last one. Belle is saying, I'm angry. Yes. How can anyone be so cruel? Because they're narcissists. There's more than one anyone being that cruel. That's the sad part and scary part. Use the anger. Don't let the anger make you freeze. Okay. Use the anger. Understand that when you're angry, you're full of adrenaline. Use the adrenaline. You may be completely wiped out and exhausted after this, but you need to get this done, right? So use it. Okay. Hi. What's in it for you? Universal unit. I don't know. I have no idea what you mean. I may have to block you there. Okay, I can put you in a timeout there and deal with you later. All right. Experiencing abuser internationally, engaging in known harmful behavior. It hurts when you hang up on me, results in repeated hang-ups. Right. If you have serious gray rock, does that imply the end of the relationship effectively? If you have to seriously gray rock, does that imply the end of the relationship effectively? Not necessarily. Some people can seriously gray rock for 10, 15, 20 years. It becomes the problem with gray rock. Here's the hang up and the problem. It can become the method of communication between you and the narcissist. It can then become, because it's a way of managing down their behavior, it can make the abuse feel more tolerable, and it can keep you from disengaging and leaving. Does that make sense? So that's the risk. If you're using it in a way where you are also trying to build your self-worth, in other words, you're paying attention to your needs, you're going out and living your life anyway, hopefully it helps you disengage. And it can become the beginning of the end when you are seriously gray rocking all the time. A lot of narcissists are lazy and they'll just sit back and not care, right? So it doesn't mean it's going to make them leave you. Yeah, okay. Do you think relapses inevitable during the gray rock process? Say more. What do you mean by that? The sense of reactivity and forgetting to gray rock when you know better. Oh yeah, like I said, half the time you come in the middle of it. You're already engaged. You're already saying, "But I didn't do that." You're already defending yourself, and you're already in, and you catch it and come back. Is that what you're asking? I just blocked someone for asking a simple question. Doesn't that make you a narcissist? Oh my gosh, I love it. I've got more than one person in here going after me. Go for it. It does not make me a narcissist. It makes me one person running a show. When they ask what's in it for them, that's not really a question that I can see as pertinent to this topic or this type of conversation, and I have no time for it. So I didn't actually block him. I put him in a timeout. And even so, if I block you, then there's something going on that I'm seeing and that I can only deal with in a split-second moment on my own in here. All right. So no. Does that answer your question? And by the way, I'm not a narcissist. Because everyone has spiritual need. Does the program work for everyone? What program? What are you talking about? Everyone has a spiritual need. A narcissist has a spiritual need, sure, but they can go meet it outside of people who are trying to live a healthy and balanced life. They can stop using people to get it. Does it work for everyone? No one program, no one system, no one person is going to speak to the heart and spirit of everyone. That's why there's so many people doing it. There's no one way in which to, there's no one path for this. There's only individuals' paths of healing, and who seems to speak to their minds, their hearts, whatever it is that helps them feel empowered and like they have some direction to take this, because this abuse is pervasive. And I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, but that's my answer. So, okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Anything else? Does everyone have a spiritual need? Do all have souls? Are some blanks? I don't know. I'll go with the fact. I'll go with the assumption that people have spiritual needs, even if they're narcissists. That doesn't mean they get to use people. So, there you go. All right. Anything else here? We're at 3:30. So not taking things personally. Okay, we'll talk about that. Anything more, multi-thinker? Because I can't quite get a read on you. Or Murdy thinker, sorry. Thinker. What are you thinking, thinker? All right. I refuse to live a mediocre surface level life with the one I choose to love. That's right. A tiger woman. I'm just curious what the double. Okay, I know the greatest narcissist in the world, not naming names, but he is from my family. I don't care. Let them know them. I mean, what's the point, right? So what? Unless they're abusing you, in that case, what do you need? What do you need to help you, right? What helps you not? How are you? Okay. I am totally okay. I'm just trying to figure out what is needed here and what's being asked. You've sparked my curiosity, thinker. I can't quite read what you're asking or wanting. Anyway, so let's talk about not taking things personal. When you are out of a narcissistic relationship and you're back in life outside of that, should we be viewing them as wounded from their childhood or evil? We should be viewing them for the way they treat us. They're adults. We've all had wounds in our childhood. Some of us survivors have lived through more than they have. All right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The way they treat people is what matters. The fact that they have no empathy and they have no accountability for their actions, and they refuse to take the mask off and actually be a real human being with other people. That's what matters. What that came from doesn't really, it's not our business. That's for them to take to therapy and heal on their own, right? I'm tired of humans blaming everything on parents or childhood nowadays. Well, yeah, we have to take accountability for ourselves. I think it's important to understand where it comes from. It's important to understand that somebody has had, or that you personally have had something in your childhood that has created a belief. But once you know what that belief is, there is no looking back. There's only looking forward, and we have to change it. Changing the belief by changing your perspective around the belief that helps you live a better life. Because the whole point isn't to blame and like sit there and complain about people. It's to move forward and thrive. In your own life, you only have so many years on the planet. Why do you want to spend it going backwards? But it is important to understand where it comes from, your childhood, so on, so that you can understand the nature of the belief that you have, the programming, right? That's to me the whole point. Otherwise, yes, I agree. I'm not tired of it. I understand why people do it, but I agree that it's not as useful as it could be. People might be able, could have come from a previous incarnation. It could come from a television commercial. It doesn't really matter, right? But the point is, where did that belief come from? How is it set up? And how is it affecting the way you live your life today? And can you gain some perspective around it? Sometimes understanding the root of it helps you gain perspective. Because you can have, if you're doing inner child work, you can have an experience, say mom punished you for something when you were a child, when actually that thing was you trying to protect someone else. And so you learned that, and then the mom blamed you for that person getting hurt, right? Because they're a narcissist or they're toxic or whatever. It doesn't matter what they are. They did something that created this belief system in you that number one, you have to defend everyone. And number two, you're never good enough. Okay. If you don't know where that came from and you go spend your life being the knight in shining armor or the Florence Nightingale or whatever to people who can never appreciate you, then there's a pattern in your life that isn't serving your life. It's not healthy and it's not happy. Right. And so to understand where it came from can be useful, because then you can go back and look at it and talk to that child who was you, the part of yourself that still feels what that child felt. Let's put it that way. And re-engage with your own life in a different way through the knowledge that you have now. Does that make sense? So that's why it's important. Otherwise, I don't see much use either. Healing begins with awareness and takes time. Yes, it does. Sometimes I just got to take a minute at a time. I absorb the toxicity. I always did that. Okay, yeah, you're not the broken one. You're just highly receptive to people. So it's a boundaries thing, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so when you're taking things personally in life, so say now you have become hypervigilant. So this is another way of not looking back, okay? Looking forward instead. So you've become hypervigilant because you're used to having to gray rock all the time. You're used to being criticized. You're used to being attacked, whatever. I could have totally taken personal a couple of these messages here today. Instead, I'm trying to understand them. What is this person asking me? What do they need? What do they want? If it is just someone being a troll, bye. If I can't guess it in a few seconds, bye. I don't engage. I can't. I don't have time for it right now. Right? And in another time in my personal life, I might engage a little bit. But if I notice someone is being toxic, I set a boundary and goodbye. Right? And the reason you can start to learn to do that is by knowing your worth, or the method is knowing what you're worth, that my time is worth more than spending it trying to, engage with something that isn't useful to the situation or to what I'm trying to talk about or whatever. Worrying too much about the other person's opinion. Of course, we care what people think, and it's just the way it is, right? But that's just a person's opinion. It's not a reality, okay? And they have their own bias and their own reaction and their own inner world, and that has nothing to do with me. It's the same thing as watching the narcissist when you're gray rocking and not engaging with it, and also understanding the behaviors that are happening. That is not about you. Somebody else's reaction to you is about their personal bias as it meets you in the world. That's it. So trying to learn to not take it personally. Your emotions are going to be screaming at you, but your head can get in there and remind you that this isn't personal. And that takes practice, right? Also, assumptions, making assumptions on what others' intent is. We don't know anyone's intent. If someone has proven to be toxic, if they have proven that they do all they gaslight, they project, they are blame shifting, they can never be accountable, they don't display empathy, then we can make an assumption at that point that they're going to continue to have that same behavior throughout the relationship. That's the only assumption we can really make. We don't know the intent. We can guess that the intent is that they are trying to protect themselves. They're trying to protect their ego. They are trying to keep things in place, and they're trying to maintain power. Oftentimes they'll outright tell us, right? But when we're in the world out in where we don't know if someone's toxic or not, don't make assumptions on their intent, because you don't know someone else's intent. You only know what they're saying to you. Watch their actions, watch their patterns, things like that throughout, and look at their life on a bigger picture. And it's a lot easier to stop making the assumptions that way. Anyway, what are we saying here? Healing sometimes feels exhausting, swimming upstream. Well, we need breaks too. We need to have fun and find joy and balance our lives instead of just working to heal, right? You don't get what means. I read from a very reliable source that working on one item from your shadow list simply creates space for other dark areas to pop up. Better practice a deep spiritual system to clear your, I don't know. I don't know. That's one spiritual belief, and I don't know that all people would subscribe to that. So I apologize to a friend who had been there for me because I'm in a reactive abuse way. Texted her some foul stuff. Okay. When I did it, I had to do it with the acceptance she may not respond, and with the intent. Exactly. So it's knowing your own intent as well, and accepting that they may have their own reaction. That's part of not taking things personally, right? Okay. It sounds like you did a good job there. Okay. All right. So another thing to help you not take things personally is if your life is busy enough where you have other things to focus on besides the interactions you have with other people in the day, it really helps you not be so hyper-focused on the minute interactions that you might take personally. Something big, of course, but sometimes people take everything personally after narcissistic abuse, like everything. And this was the question that was brought to me that brought up this whole topic. So that's why I'm going over this part as well. So having things in your life that you love and enjoy, which goes back to what Phoenix was saying about it being exhausting, having things that help you feel not exhausted, having things that help you direct your attention outside of other people and onto your own interest and your own goals can help you not take everything so personally when you interact with other people. There's just not as much time for it. And there's not as much focus on it. And there's not as much hypervigilance needed. You're able to hold your own. In other words, you're able to maintain who you are while you're around other people through gaining your self-worth and getting yourself back. Then taking things personal is a lot less frequent. And it's only when someone's really direct and very pointedly attacking and triggers you, hits a button, right? That's when it comes up, and that's when you learn to calm the triggers, and that's a whole nother topic. So, okay. Looking at, this is kind of what Rock Freedom was talking about, looking at your own reactions before you reply. So knowing that he was in a state of reactive abuse and said some things to a friend that were hurtful, that then he had to be accountable. And if he chose to maintain a relationship with this friend, apologize. Knowing that it could have an outcome either direction, that's up to the friend. You give people space to have their own reaction, their own response, right? But it took a moment in that what I can hear is it took a moment to see all that, which is evaluating your reactions before you respond. It wasn't an immediate, well, I'm sorry, while you're still in reaction. Stepping back for a second and having a look at your reactions to other people. Sometimes we're reacting defensively because we feel like the person's attacking us when they're really not, right? Especially if we're taking something personal. Like somebody can just be flustered and having a bad day and super reactive and come at you with an attitude that is attacking, right? Without it actually being personal. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be able to contain their own emotions enough to speak politely to you. However, it happens all the time, right? People are constantly in a state of reaction to what's in their own inner worlds. And when we take that personally, all we're doing is perpetuating all that negativity from the other person. We don't even know what it is we're carrying. We don't even know why they're doing that way. So that's why assumptions and making assumptions on people's inner lives, you don't know what happened with their day or what's been going on in their world. You just don't. So watching your own reactions to your own life and making sure you're not pouring them forward can help you give a balance between who you are, who other people are, stuff like that. Okay. Thanks. I'm proud of myself for that. After the reaction, I took a day or two to send the apology to text to monitor my intent. She gossips. She love bonds, then disappears. Yeah. Yes, I've been various forms of no and low contact with my mom. I can be okay with that. I feel it's unfair for any person to have to gray rock their spouse. I pay if I don't. Tragic. It is unfair. That's why we have to get out. That's not a life that's what I'm saying. It's a defense mechanism, not a way of living. Does that make sense? It's not a way to live forever. It's just a tool. And it's not meant to be a lifestyle. It's meant to be a tool. And yes, you can take it into your life in other ways. Maybe it's a toxic situation, not a toxic person. And you can gray rock that because you've learned how. But it's not something you want to live with forever and ever all the time. All right, you guys. All right. Okay. All right, my friends. Anything else that you want to talk about today? I think I'm talked out on this topic, unless there's more. I think I've said what I need to say, or what I have to say, rather. And any other help you need, let me know. Belle, I am going to be thinking of you. What can you do? Nose to the grindstone, right? You got to do it. You got to get it done. And we will all be thinking of you and hoping for the best. Sometimes I think people who are friends decide we are better off without them. If you're true to yourself and kind to others, and you're good, and you are. Yes. Okay. Anyway, that's over. Weird that I'm developing more confidence. Old narky friends are coming out of the woodwork. Well, yeah, we notice it. We notice it, and they will come out of the woodwork, and you use your boundaries. This is life. This healing, this process is a process in life. It isn't one where we go into reclusive caves and do the magic on ourselves and then step back into life and life becomes perfect. No, this is work in life. This is work on oneself, on evolving and on thriving and creating the life we want in life as it's happening. Yeah, it's hard. And then what? And we keep going, right? We keep moving forward. It's ongoing. It is ongoing. It can feel exhausting and swimming upstream. It also can be exciting because if you didn't have those things to push against, it'd be a slower process. So every time you make a move forward in your healing like that, where you can watch yourself, I need to wrap it up. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Tiger. I'll wrap it up. Anyway, yeah. All right. Okay, you guys. So I'll be here tomorrow. I think what are we going to talk about? Tomorrow is, let me look. Somebody gave me a topic that they want, and now I've forgotten off the top of my head. It was, how narcissistic abuse affects you physically, emotionally, and mentally. So the effects of narcissistic abuse on you and how things to help cope, things to help heal in that regard. All right, it's kind of a broad topic, but I think we were thinking more on the physical end, but it'll go into other parts of how it affects you, of course. So that's tomorrow. Anything else that you guys want to talk about this week? As always, leave it in the comments section, not in the chat, so I can find it. Anytime there's a topic I'm able to do, I'll do it. So there we go. All right. What are we saying? My brother takes a challenging career, prepares a high-paying job, and then advises others to do the same. When they fail, he feels good of himself. Yeah, that's what they like. They like to put people on a pedestal to knock them off. And the higher the pedestal, the more they like to knock them off, depending on the severity of the narcissist and where they fall on the spectrum, right? Financially breaking free. Can that be a topic after the learned helplessness? Learned helplessness. That's a good one. Yes. And as it relates to all things, and especially gaining independence in your life. Okay. And I don't want to forget. Okay, I wrote down. All right. Gaining the confidence and doing it anyway. Okay, got it. We got it. Okay, it's down. How about Thursday? Because I'm not here Wednesday. Okay, you guys. As always, hit subscribe if you have not hit subscribe to this channel and you enjoy these videos. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video. I'm sure I'll have a thumbs down for blocking someone, but that's okay. And yeah, you guys take care. If you would like text notifications of my going live, text me at 33222. Put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, and I will send you a notification about 10 minutes prior to going live every time. And that's the only one I send, and that's it. And as always, if you need support, if you need peer support, there's information, or if you need coaching help, you can find us and myself over at queenbeing.com, and all the information's there. It's also down in the main description of every video. So that's it. You guys take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Tigers.